Hey Flock, Mike here from Epic Duck Studios and welcome to the Epic Hobby. Today I'm going to be showing you my technique for painting a basic plaid. So today I'm going to be doing a red and black plaid, which is one of the most common forms of plaid you'll see out there. That's where just alternating basically red and black checkerboard with some sort of mid-tone blocks in between. I'm going to begin by just getting some Mephiston red and some Reaper Noir black on my palette. I'm also now going to prepare a mid-tone. I'm going to want to lean it more towards the red than the black because, of course, black is pretty potent. There we go. I'm just kind of keep working back and forth until I get it where I like it. And that's looking pretty good. I want to make sure that it's a color that appears as neither red nor black exclusively on the model. So I'm going to begin by just base coating the entire shirt here with Mephiston red. I'm going to get a few other details kind of caught up in this, such as this strap on his backpack. Not too concerned about that. There's a lot of different forms of plaid, including tartan. Tartan is, of course, a form of heraldry coming out of Scotland and possibly other parts of the world. I'm not sure that that's exclusively a Scottish thing, but a Scottish tartan has inherent meaning to the family that it belongs to. You're probably most familiar with what's called a Wallace tartan in that regard, which is similar to the red and black plaid, but it has some additional lines of gold running through it. But the different color segments on a tartan often represented things like lakes or fields nearby to a family's place of residence, you know, battles that they participated in and so on. And then that was woven into a repeating pattern, which is just, I think, really, really cool. Plaid, however, I think is more of just a generic fashion element as opposed to, you know, something significant to a culture or heraldic. I could also be wrong. It could just be something different that's been co-opted by fashion, but, you know, it's been serving lumberjacks well for a very, very long time, so I'm pretty sure lumberjacks didn't go around co-opting cultures for their fashion sense. Doesn't seem very lumberjacky, but I could be wrong. So I'm not going to do the cuffs. I'm just going to leave them blank. I do want to make sure the collar's fully covered. I'm just going to quickly map this out on some paper. So when you're painting red and black plaid, you basically start with a field of red, and then you begin by putting an even grid of the red and black sort of 50-50 mix through it. Now on paper this is looking very black, and that might actually be a problem when we get on the miniature. And, you know, that continues repeating. And then that same thing happens at 90 degrees. And then what happens is where those two, the black-red lines intersect, is where the true black comes in. And I'm worried on paper this won't really be visible because that black-red actually showed up quite more black than I expected. But basically you fill in these intersecting areas with plain black. And that will give you a black-red pattern. Now, again, it didn't quite work right on paper, so hopefully it'll translate to the model just a little bit better. What I'm going to do, though, just do that little experiment. I think I've learned that this mid-tone was a little bit too dark. So instead I'm going to just use some straight Citadel corn red instead. You see that's just a little bit brighter than the halftone I was using. Hopefully it's not too much brighter. This does require just a little bit of experimentation to get really dialed in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with that corn red. We're going to see if I can actually read it properly on the model. Yeah, see, it's not dark enough. I really don't actually see that difference. So I'm going to bring in a little bit of the black to it. I'm starting just under the collar and bringing this line straight down the shirt all the way to the bottom. That's better. I'm just going to repeat that again. Okay, now once the vertical stripes are in, you're going to repeat the process horizontally. So here's the really fun thing is at this scale, I don't even really need to do the black lines in between to really finish this off. That said, it did bring the whole shirt down quite a bit. It's now very, very dark. It may have done well to start with a much brighter red. So I think what we'll actually do is kind of paint over this and start from the beginning again. So I'm going to come back in just with the Mephiston red, and I'm just going to lose all that work. So I'm going to go ahead and lighten that up now with a little bit of Citadel Wildrider Red and some P3 Khador Red base. Wildrider Red is actually quite orange. I'm not sure even why it's called Wildrider Red, but we're going to fix that in a moment with the Khador Red base. We're really just using it because it's a nice light shade to build this next step onto. So I'm just going to give that a moment to dry. Right now the Wildrider Red is dry. I'm going to apply a thin coat of Khador Red base. I'm going to bring just a little bit of water into that. Get it nice and thin and just glaze it over all of the Wildrider Red. And the idea here is I just wanted to build a much more vibrant red to base the plaid off of, so that it still has a nice potent red even after all of the black is added to it. So the problem is once you start building the plaid pattern, it's only 1/4 red, 1/4 black, and then 1/2, red-black mix. And so it really brings the color down. You really lose all of your brightness, a lot of your color. And so to do that well on a miniature scale, we need to start from a much brighter point. So I think that'll get us there. I think that's a much more vibrant red, and we can build the pattern around that. Again, I'm just going to give this a minute to set. I want to make sure it's fully dry before I move on. So I've gone and done a quick test of the plaid on the base, and I'm pretty happy with how that's going to look. So this is made from the current red with corn red striping and then Reaper Noir Black at the intersections. So that's what we're going to go ahead and proceed with. So I'm just grabbing some corn red from my palette, and I'm just going to paint in some thickish vertical lines. I'm going to space the pattern out a bit more than I did the first time as well, to allow the blocks to be a little bit bigger, which then allows a little more of the red to show through. And now with the vertical lines done, I'm just going to repeat for the horizontal lines. I'm going to start about his midsection. and then work lines both above and below that. Now, if you wanted, I mean, obviously you'd still want to do the back, the shoulders, and the arms. But as far as the pattern goes, you could stop there, not worry about the black intersections, and it still very much looks like plaid on the table. But if you want it to be really authentic, you can take it just a little bit further and add in that black. And you want to do that just where the dark red lines intersect. And it's so small, you can basically just do it with a dot of black paint now. You don't have to worry about painting a perfect square. That's enough, just like that. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just finish this plaid pattern on the rest of his shirt, and then come back with a finished model to show you how it stands out against the rest of the details. And there he is, completed plaid with everything else painted as well, just so you can get an idea for how it looks on the finished product. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. There's plenty more here on YouTube. You can also join me twice a week at twitch.tv/epicduckstudios on Thursday and Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, where I do stream my painting live. If you want to support the show, you can do that at patreon.com/epicduck. Even giving as little as $1 a month helps keep the lights on and the paint flowing. You can also help by hitting subscribe here on YouTube or sharing this video with some friends. Thanks a lot!